So we refined the clean core extensibility dimension. So when you are in Europe and you buy a new appliance, you go to the appliance store and you buy a fridge, then you will have something like an energy label. In North America, you will have something like a star rating. And in Asia, you have like the energy consumption label. And with our new clean core concept, we also now introduce certain levels for the clean core. The level A would be the best level. You want to be on this level. This is where you use the cloud development with SAP Build. Then we have the level B, where we use our best practices of the classic world. Then we have the level C, which is called the conditional clean. And then we have the level D. This is what you want to avoid at all costs.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of our podcast, Unlocking SAP BTP. Today's episode number 121. We're talking about enterprise transformation, achieving clean core through SAP Build. My name is Niklas Siemer and I'm product manager for SAP BTP. And today I have Marco Matha with me. Welcome to our podcast.
So my name is Marco Matha. I'm also part of the BTP product management organization. I do all topics around extensibility, and maybe I also give a little bit about my private life. I really enjoy making music, and this is actually a hobby we both share.
Exactly.
The audience knows it already, but now they can look for our producer tags.
What kind of music you're making?
More like on the classic side.
Okay, cool. Yeah, our today's episode topic is the so-called clean core. So last year we already had 2 episodes touching on the ABAP environment of SAP BTP. And in these episodes, we also touched highly on clean core. But today we have an awesome update to share. But to introduce it for all which are brand new to our podcast, maybe also due to the new video format, can you please introduce clean core once again?
Yeah, so clean core, the short answer is you really want to keep up with the technology advancements we do. So let me give you an example. It took us around, as a human society, it took us around 120 years to go from the steam engine of James Watt to the modern automobile from Carl Benz. And then it took us around 90 years to go from the car to the mobile phone. But back then, the mobile phone was like the size of a brick. And then it took us around 30 years from the brick-sized phone to the iPhone. And now if you look at the technology advancements, it's like every day with AI, we have a new breakthrough, something new to look out for. So everything speeds up. The world is moving faster and faster. Speed really matters. And why clean core? You want to be part of this technology journey. You want to really make use of the latest and greatest technology advancements, innovations, which SAP provides. And with clean core, you can participate and achieve it.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for the first introduction. But what are the benefits when customers acting clean core compliant?
So you will always be on the latest release. You will lower your TCO, and you will be able to differentiate your business.
Awesome. Let's stick to the differentiation. In the past, customers developed a lot of custom codes, a lot of modifications, and this led to various problems. Can you elaborate on these?
Yes, exactly. So many customers over the last decades developed a lot of custom code. They have maybe undocumented changes. They did a lot of modifications. Maybe the people who developed the extensions now moved on to a different company or are in retirement, whatever, right? So it's really, really hard to keep track of all this custom code in your system, in your legacy system. It's very hard to maintain your integrations and your extensions. It really slows down your upgrades. And this can be a huge challenge for customers.
Yeah, exactly. So today we want to definitely focus on the second dimension, which is the extensibility, right?
Exactly. So we, as you mentioned, we have a couple of dimensions in clean core. So the first dimension is you want to use the standard processes as much as possible. The second dimension is the extensibility dimension. Then we have the integration dimension. The fourth dimension is you want to have efficient operations. And the fifth is that you want to have a strong data quality.
Sounds like a very good approach, if you ask me. So let's zoom into the extensibility then. So I've heard we've just launched a new version with our Clean Core concept. So can you give us a first high-level overview on that?
Exactly. So we refined the Clean Core extensibility dimension. And I would like to start with a metaphor story. So when you are in Europe and you buy a new appliance, you go to the appliance store and you buy a fridge, then you will have something like an energy label. In North America, you will have something like a star rating. And in Asia, you have like the energy consumption label. And now on a first glance, when you approach this appliance, you see, okay, this appliance has a very good rating. This is something maybe you are most interested in. And with our new Clean Core concept, we also now introduce certain levels for the Clean Core. So we have different levels. The level A would be the best level. You want to be on this level. This is where you use the cloud development with SAP Build. Then we have the level B, where we use our best practices of the classic world. Then we have the level C, which is called the conditional clean. And then we have the level D. This is what you want to avoid at all costs. Very high level. This is how it looks now.
Okay. So that's definitely a change in this concept, because in the past we had a 3-tier extensibility model.
Exactly.
Can you elaborate on high level what was the motivation to change it and what has changed except the levels itself?
So for me, this is a natural evolution and a pragmatic change. So the strategic direction remains the same. In the past, we said you need to go to tier 1, and now it's level A, but it's more or less the same. You still want to build your extensions with SAP Build, either on stack or side by side. You will use ABAP Cloud or the Cloud Application Programming Model. So no changes here. And then for the tier 2 and the tier 3 model, we are now more precise. So we give you clear rules and recommendations. What objects of the classic world are recommended, what should you use, and what objects and technologies and frameworks you should avoid.
All right. Sounds good. So then let's have a closer look in each and every level. So let's start with level A. So the extensions with SAP Build as it's Clean Core compliant.
Exactly. So level A is where you want to head. This remains your strategic direction. No changes here. So you will use the released APIs and the released extension points. You will develop your extensions either on stack, on S/4HANA with SAP Build, or you develop your extensions side by side on the BTP, also with SAP Build. You will use the ABAP Cloud Programming Model or the Cloud Application Programming Model. And you will find all these released APIs, released local APIs, and the released extension points on the SAP Business Accelerator Hub.
Okay, for everyone, the Business Accelerator Hub can be found under hub.sap.com. So go check it out. So we have a second level, the level B, which is also Clean Core compliant, which leverages the classic APIs. So let's get into this then.
Exactly. The level B are basically our best practices for our classic ABAP. So here we have a list of nominated BAPIs which you can use, which are Clean Core compliant. And all the objects can be found in our cloudification repository. We will also link it down below. And basically you will filter on this cloudification repository for the API state classic API. And then you can find all the objects we recommend customers to use. A big difference between the level A and the level B is on the level A, we have stability contracts in place and deprecation policies in place. So it's very clear and very stable. On the level B, we do not have a stability contract in place. So these levels can change at any time. And but they are nominations and recommendations based on our SAP experts, what customers should use in their extensions.
Okay, this means when customers really want to be stable, then level A is the right choice.
Level A is the gold standard. And if level A is not possible, then you can look at level B.
Okay, small side question to the level B. As you mentioned, BAPIs. What are BAPIs?
These are our business application programming interfaces. So nowadays we have a lot of APIs on the OData and SOAP protocol. And in the old world, in the classic ABAP, we have a lot of these BAPIs, which are stable interfaces which customers can use to integrate their solutions.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So now we have we talked about the both clean levels. So let's get in the more, I would say, crunch area.
Okay.
So we have level C, the access to internal objects, which is just conditionally clean. Can you get into this?
Exactly. So level C is you access the internal objects, they are only conditional clean. So they are not released, they are not recommended, and they are not cloud ready. We don't guarantee a long-term stability for those objects. And SAP also does not endorse the use of those internal objects. And unfortunately, due to the custom code customers created in the past, it is reality that a lot of those level C internal objects are being used in the custom code. And to reflect this reality, we introduce what we call the changelog for SAP objects, and we offer a migration path and to basically combat those stability risks when you use the level C objects.
Okay, yeah. So then we have the last level, which is level D, the definitely not recommended, not clean level with the extension options on stack.
Exactly. So level D should be avoided at all costs. You should not use those objects. They will also be available on our cloudification repository. You can filter for no API, and then you get a list of all those level D objects, and please just avoid those. An example would be the RC read table, which is just not a good best practice to use such a object in your custom code.
Okay. All right. So with that, we had all the levels in a deep dive. Let's make a small power break game to refresh our minds and also the minds of our listeners. So, I mean, as we know, in the same studio, we could play Xing Shang Shong, but let's stick to the normal game I prepare for all of our episodes. So first of all, do you want to play the game, of course?
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right. So the game is not really a game. It's more an interview-like game. But so I ask you very short, small questions. Questions like, do you prefer coffee or energy drink? And you just tell your choice. Okay?
Got it.
So then we start with the first one, which is, do you prefer walking or cycling?
Walking, definitely walking.
Why though?
No, the cycling is not good. I don't like it.
Okay. And then second question, reading a book or watching a series or film?
These days, reading a book.
And then the last question, in this case, it's not an or question like the previous two, but what is your favorite animal and why?
I would say the lion, mostly because of the Disney Lion King movies.
Okay, cool. All right, then let's come back to the clean core topic of this episode. So we talked about the levels. We had a deep dive into each and every one. We now understood that level A and B are really clean.
Yes.
And in best case, don't get into level C and never into D.
Absolutely.
But when customers now want to get started with this whole clean core topic, so what kind of tools and best practices they can use for that?
Yes. So if you're a Rise with SAP customer, we have the Rise with SAP methodology dashboard. It is part of the SAP Cloud ALM Launchpad. And there you get an overview about the clean core KPIs. So this is a great starting point to see how clean is your system. Also, we have, if you look for detailed code governance, we have the ABAP Test Cockpit, the ATC. So with this tool, you get a clear information about your code. So the level A, with our released APIs, you will have no ATC findings. On the level B, with our classic SAP extension points, you will get a priority 3 finding, which is an information message. The level C, with our internal SAP objects, you will get a priority 2 finding, which is a warning message. And then the level D objects, which you should avoid, not recommended SAP objects, the not recommended extension points, you will get a priority 1 finding, which is then an error message.
Okay, so these tools help then to get started.
Exactly. And if you are not a RISE with SAP customer, you can still get started with your Clean Core journey. So here I would like to make the audience aware of our open source project called Kernseife, which is the German word for like a bar of soap, a curd soap. And this will help you to measure the Clean Core. So this project Kernseife, it sits on top of the ATC check, and you can adjust your classifications. And it is really a great starting point to get also a Clean Core score if you are not yet on the RISE journey.
All right. Do we have some further best practices for Clean Core?
So we structure this methodology into 3 phases. So in the first phase, it's called Assess Extension Use Case. You really want to understand your business problem. What is it you try to solve? So you want to gather information like your system context, your business context, the actual extension use case you try to solve. Then in the second phase, we call it Assess Extension Technology. Here you want to learn about all the technology available at SAP. So what can you do on stack in S4HANA? What can you do side by side on the BTP? What technologies are available? And here we introduce certain terminology, which can help you also to speak the same language as your customer, as your consultant internally. And in the end of the phase 2, we have something what we call the extension technology mapping, where everything comes together and you get a clear list of the options available. And then lastly, we have phase 3, which is called define extension target solution. So here you will do a mapping and you will use a lot of our decision guidance assets, which we provide. And in the end, you will have something like an extension target solution. This is for me always something like a diagram. And this solution architecture diagram will then be the starting point for your implementation.
Okay. So you mentioned decision guides in this regard. So what would be your topics?
Yes. So I would recommend our audience to definitely take a look at our SAP Discovery Center. So here we offer missions, reference architectures. We give a list of all our BTP services. We have the cost estimator. And if you want to learn where one service is it available in my data center here? You can also take a look at this at our Discovery Center. Another one would be our guidance framework. So at the SAP Guidance Framework, we came up with guidance for basically 3 persona. So we look at the architect persona, the developer, and also the administrator. And for each of those persona, we provide decision guides, best practices, methodologies, and is also a great resource to start your Clean Core journey and your BTP journey.
Yeah, and of course the SAP Guidance Framework is not completely brand new to our audience, so we've made an episode on that last year as well, so go check it out if you want. So, do you have any further call to action? Do you want to address something else to our audience today?
Yes, absolutely. So we came up with this Clean Core refinement and this new level concept, and we wrote a detailed white paper which goes in all the details and also provides you all the information you need to know about this topic. So I highly recommend our audience to take a look at this white paper and go through it. It's like a 50-page detailed, comprehensive guide.
To close our podcast episodes, we always ask our guests for some recommendations. So whatever you enjoy and think it's nice to share.
Yeah, so recently I reread a book. It's called Talk Like TED. And it basically helps you with these TED Talks and inspires you how to do a great presentation. And what was really surprising for me was the first time I read the book and also the second time, how much work goes into keynotes. So in this book, they give the example of the iPhone launch of Steve Jobs with Apple. And for this 20-minute announcement, it took them like more than 250 hours of preparation, which is just a huge number, right?
Yeah, crazy. All right, so thank you, Marco, for joining me in today's episode, talking about Clean Core together with me. It was a pleasure and really appreciate that you took the time. So for all our listeners, feel free to subscribe to our podcast to don't miss any episode, drop a comment, visit Marco or me on LinkedIn to get up to date and stay up to date. And yeah, see you in one of the next episodes then. Until then, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.